This time, I said back again. Perfect. I got my boy Vad Lee. He's back again. He was here for the very first episode. I think we aired it as episode 2, but effectively you were the very first episode, very first person I talked to about doing this. And honestly, you had the idea to do one too, and we kind of inspired each other to kind of get it going. Tell them about your podcast and what you've been having going on lately, man. What's going down?
Yeah, so the Popcast is what I would call it. Purpose over position is what POP stands for. I wrote a book about purpose over position. Essentially, this is a resource for really anybody who can take that message. That message is so diverse. It can mean something it can mean something different to somebody else, right? But for me, it stemmed on me getting injured my senior year in college and really changed the trajectory of my life. And I noticed that a lot of athletes go through traumatic injuries, go through traumatic things in life where they don't necessarily have the resources to be able to voice how they feel or be able to get the proper healing. So I created a platform with the podcast to help to give athletes that voice and in hopes to inspire others, but also to provide healing for the athlete that may have went through that traumatic experience.
Smooth. I definitely understand that. Now I got a sneak peek, man. I got to watch the first episode before everybody else, and dog, I was blown away. Like, I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know who your first guest was gonna be or any of that stuff. And like, dog, y'all were on the money. You spoke like a seasoned veteran, and essentially you are, man. You've been on national TV speaking and everything. Like, can you tell me a little bit about what the experience was like for you the last couple of weeks, just commentating and stuff?
Yeah. So the last month, I've had some incredible opportunities. I've been in the spaces and rooms with some people that I never thought that I'd be in rooms with. Guys like Dabo Sweeney, and obviously, college athletes get paid now, so it's interesting going. It was interesting going to speak to Clemson, and I also went to go speak to East Carolina. Got a chance to go speak to the Cincinnati Bengals as well, and but it was interesting speaking to these college dudes because they're younger than me. I have experience on them. I have something that they could learn from being a starting quarterback in the ACC and also a starting quarterback in the CAA at James Madison. But also being like one of the brokest dudes in the room.
That's why you don't even think about it like that.
I'm offering these dudes some advice, right? And here these 16, 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds, they got all these NIL deals. And I was man, I'm speaking to some millionaires, right? I'm speaking to some guys that got their pockets is fat right now.
That's for real.
Yeah, bro. It just shows you the value of wisdom, though, experience, your story being your story. And I'm happy that these dudes are getting name and likeness and getting these deals off their name, because I remember when I was done playing and I got injured, I remember like being the man in the community and being the guy that people knew their names, posters up in restaurants and all these things. And then when it was over, it was like, wait, like that's it? Like, like I don't get it's like, whoa. And that's why athletes go through so much depression and all of these things, because they were here transcending and going in a direction, and then when you get injured or something traumatic happens, it kind of just falls off, where it's just like you got what you got, you don't even have the game anymore, you just who you are. So anyway, man, I've had a blast being able to come up with content and messages to be able to inspire and motivate these athletes, and to do some commentating. I did my first pregame, halftime, and postgame show. That was amazing at Liberty University. Liberty is awesome. This might be a plug for them. Even though I'm a JMU Duke, but man, Liberty is first class. I'll tell you that.
My wife did her master's there, man. She loves Liberty. We both love Liberty.
Yeah, it was beautiful, and they really took care of me, and I was super thankful to be on the show. So it's been a blessing, man, to be able to have these different speaking opportunities. If you guys are ever looking for a speaker, a motivator, or an inspirational speaker, you can go to vadspeaks.com, VADSPEAKS.com, and hit me up.
Yeah, I already need a lot from you, man. I need some coaching from you. I'll text you the other day. I was trying to throw the ball with his eye, And you already know, bro, we've been together for years. I can't throw no football, dog. So
Man,
I might
don't
need to
mess
go.
up my man. Don't mess up my man. We'll have to break old habits. Like, just
Man,
let him be natural right now until I get with him.
that's what I'm gonna do. And I this might be even a short segment. I was like, I had to catch you like last minute. I was like, bro, we gotta get on. There's like 2 or 3 things we definitely need to talk about. One being the Kirk Franklins special. I went and watched that, dog. You sent it to me, and I was in tears by the end of it. And then another thing on like another fatherhood tip is talking about Deion Sanders and his kids.
Mhm.
Like I feel like that's something we gotta talk about. I watched the mini documentary, I guess we want to call it. It was like the behind the scenes with Kirk Franklin. It was called Father's Day. And for anybody listening or watching, if you haven't seen it, you want to press pause on this right now and you want to go watch that first and then come back to this because we're going to be talking about some spoilers. But it is heart wrenching. It is for some people who can connect, some people who are just confused as to how this could even happen. But just to give it some context before, just asking your opinion on the entire story. Kirk Franklin, for the first time ever, after all these albums, decided to bring along a videographer and a photographer to just capture the moments of putting together an album. And in the midst of this entire capturing of a moment, putting together the album, he got a chance to record a memory of a real life crisis. Um, there was a rumor going around that somebody had found his father, and for years he had people reaching out saying that they were his father and all these different things. They were all wrong. They were all liars. For at one point in time, he thought that he actually knew who the father was. I think his mom also said, "Yes, that's him," and he hated him. Like he had so much ill will toward him, and he was on his deathbed even when he found out. He allowed him. I mean, he died. He put him in his grave, and then later, years later, he finds out with 2 DNA tests that a guy who was literally down the street from his recording studio for probably over 20 years was his real father. And the thing that I think hurt him the most was that his mother still not only didn't come to terms with it, she still didn't tell the truth about it. She still was like, no, I reject those DNA tests. There's no way that could be your father. What are your thoughts, Vad?
Wow. I have so many thoughts. I When I first seen that documentary, I wasn't even sure that I was fully committed to watching it. And then it got 2 minutes, and then 4 minutes, and then 6 minutes, and the next thing you know, it was like, whoa, I didn't know what I was signing up for, basically. And it was a lot of things that intrigued me and that brought me in. If I can capture it with one word or maybe multiple words, it will be just ongoing trauma,
Mm,
right? And ongoing trauma. Have you ever had a dream where you were in the dream and you felt like you couldn't get out of the dream, but it was very traumatic and it was like, I don't want to be in this thing. I wish you didn't even know you're sleeping for real. You think it's real and it's
yeah,
like it won't stop. And when you finally wake up, you are relieved that, man, I'm glad. I'm so glad that was a dream. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I'm mad about what I just went through, but I'm so glad that was a dream. And you can um, put it away. You can put it in its proper place. For Kirk Franklin, in this special and his life story, it just gave us further insight on ongoing trauma that he has never been able to put away. Right? He won't really ever be able to put away. And like you said, with his mother continued to deny even still the DNA test. I'm sure he believes that that is his father, if it's 99.99%. But at the same time, there's some percentages in there that can't really fully embrace it if my mother is telling me that it's not true. Even though
yeah,
I think it's true, I know it's true or whatever, to have somebody say something that you value, to say
yeah.
something against what might be true, is really traumatic and it really hurts.
Yeah, and I know just with hearing that, and I talked to my wife about it. I was like, he sat here and looked at a DNA test twice that said 99.9%, but his mother's voice still mattered.
Mhm.
Like no matter what he looked at, the science couldn't tell him this or that. He needed to hear it from his mom, and it broke him down. You even watch him walk. I don't know if he walked all the way back to the studio after that, but he couldn't even get back in the car. He needed to be alone. He was just so hurt. And you can also hear the mom, how hurt she was. In the recording, it says something like, you were all that I wanted, and I still can't have you.
Mm.
And he talked a little bit about his mom, not her, how she was brought up, but the fact he had to be adopted by a close family member, and he would see his mom every couple years, but just not be able to go with her. So I'm not sure her full story. I'm pretty sure he talked about it in other capacities and in other maybe articles or videos. But she definitely has some trauma too, obviously, that she's unable to let go of. She may not be in therapy, but she's obviously not talking about something. And it is not only chaining her, but it's chaining Kirk. It's chaining
Yeah.
Kirk Franklin as well. And he can't get from up under that rock, like you said. And he's going from trauma to trauma to trauma and can't be released from it, solely because of the relationship he has with his wife. And it just hurts to even see and to hear. And he talked about, I don't even know what I am well. I don't know how I am healthy because I've been going through this for so long.
Yeah, he highlighted insecurities. He highlighted that even as a grown man, even with 19 Grammys and all of the success that he's had financially, in every area in life, out of all the success, he has never really been well, right?
Yeah.
And he always had these insecurities in the room when he steps into the room. And, that really highlights just how important it is to have answers to who you are, right, and where you come from.
Yeah.
Um, this was one of those things where we all deserve more, but one of the things that God does with me, is God's been doing this with me a lot, is God helps me to see the little boy or the little girl inside the grown person that's talking.
Mm.
And I'm not a psychologist or anything. I am in school to get my master's in psychology right now. But one of the things that spiritually God helps me to do is to identify the young person, the little boy or the little girl that's inside of somebody. And it was very intriguing. The thing that probably hit me the most was when Kirk Franklin arrived at the home with his mother and his aunt, and she told him to get out the car. She was talking to him very aggressively.
And she cursed
And
and everything too.
she cursed and everything. And he said, "Here I am, a 53-year-old man, but I still feel like a 10-year-old boy."
Yeah.
That really, like, to hear somebody actually speak those words was really intriguing to me, because a lot of times things are deep rooted and we come from a space of roots that hasn't been tended to.
Mm.
When you're dealing with some unattended roots, those things can really just sprout up on the inside of you without you knowing it, and really just develop some unhealthy ways or practices, or develop thoughts that aren't healthy for you to continue to live throughout life as a
Yeah.
man, as a person, as a man of faith, as a Christian. As it is not healthy. So at the end of the day, we have to tend to those roots that have been unattended to, even when it's not fair for the person. It may not be
Mm.
fair for me, but it is fair for me to receive the healing that I need to have fully. So sometimes we may feel like it's not my responsibility to talk about that or to go to that person and ask them about this, because they did this to me,
Yeah.
right? But because they did this to you, it's important that we go and get healthy. You
What's
know what I
so
mean?
hard, bro, is disconnecting the two.
Yeah,
When they're so close to you, though, that's the
yeah,
hard part for me. Trying to understand how somebody can compartmentalize that, because as you see, he hadn't seen his mom in over 20 years,
yeah,
because of something else that she did, and this is something else that's even hard for him. But in every scene before the last one, you see him embrace her, hug her, be able to talk to her, because he knows that somebody he still needs in his life. and he's trying to get his own healing. And even in getting the answers, he still is hurt because he has that connection to her. I don't know how he would ever be able to, like, would he be happy if he cut clean or severed the relationship between him and his mom? Because now you're hurt from not having a relationship between you and your mom, as you saw at the
Yeah.
end with him and his son. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They hadn't talked in over 2 years, and how much hurt came from just being apart. And now, being able to provide answers to each other, they brought them back together again. So I don't know, man.
Yeah. Shutting somebody out of your life is hard to be healthy that way, right?
Yeah,
I think even Kirk, watching that, I think even Kirk Franklin understands the trauma that, he kept saying that we're still working it out. Like even when his
yeah,
son, like still trying to figure it out because they're in the process right now. They're in relationship, they're in connection, right? But when we go to, his mom and him, they are not, right? Communication
right.
is very limited. So it's hard to fully receive that healing that you need. There's always going to be some type of wound, some type of hole right there, some type of void
Yeah,
that's not going to be met. And I love that Kirk Franklin is a believer because at the end of the day, as believers, we know that Christ is to fulfill those voids. He was there from the very beginning, and he will never leave nor forsake me, right? And that can
hmm
be very personal to you. That can be very personal to Kirk, where this is a relationship that's built on truth instead of living at 53 years of a lie, right?
yeah,
And that can be very traumatic, and it is traumatic. It's not can be. And you talked about him seeing his mother on occasions, even when he was young, right? That was not a normal adoption. He didn't go through a normal adoption process, really,
yeah,
um, because usually you don't have any relations or any connection to your parent.
yep,
Um, and it's interesting because when you watch this special, I'm sure everybody is sad for Kirk Franklin, but everybody looks at their own life, right?
hmm
And if you've gone through something even remotely close or similar to that, you connect differently. You engage differently. Your emotions are different. I had to watch it a couple times because the first time is always very emotional. The second
right.
time is like you try to take the emotions out and you try to really just grasp what is being said and what you're actually viewing. And that caught me the second time when I watched it was um, hearing him say that he would see his mother on occasions, but it was like a bandage or I can't remember an analogy
A
he used, but
wound. I think he said like a wound that can never scar up. It just kept
yes,
getting reopened and the scab kept getting pulled off. But yep.
absolutely. And it's interesting because like for me, not a lot of people know, but like so I was raised by my mother and my stepfather, who I love dearly, and both of them, did the best they could with raising me and did a great job. And especially like having a dad in the house. I'm glad that I don't have that story of not having my father in the
Right.
house. Like not having dad in the house. Like I grew up with my dad, which is my stepdad, right? Um, but I always knew from an early age that I had a father who was not there, right?
Right.
I always knew that like I didn't carry the last name of my stepdad. I carried the last name of a man that I don't know.
Mm.
However, I would see this man every now and then on a corner store or like Durham is only but so big. It's growing now, but you would hang out basically in this certain area, and man, I would see my father at this store. I would just be going to get some candy, and I would see
Mm.
him at the store, and we would see each other and like not even say anything to each other. But I knew that was my dad. He knew that I was his
Yeah.
son. And it was just like this thing. One, because he was battling drug addiction, And, to his defense, like, he didn't want me to see him like that, right?
Right.
And probably caught off guard that he even seen me. Um, to my defense, I could have that, it could have been very traumatic for me to see a person that you carry their last name, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't even like talk to them or know them, or
Yeah.
all you know is what you see. And from a young brain, you could perceive that maybe this guy doesn't love me, or whatever. But I had a dad in the house, so that kind of saved me from those thoughts.
Yeah.
And when I seen this man, it was more like, oh, there go my father. And I probably wouldn't use those words, father. It was like, there
Mm-hmm.
go, the guy
Yeah.
who, who had sex with my mama, basically.
Basically, basically.
And made a baby. And I'm thankful to be in this world. I'm thankful. So whoever it is, whoever made me, I'm thankful, because
Yeah.
I'm alive. You know what I
And
mean?
and that's
But
good that you talk about your stepdad too, like coming in and you weren't left alone, right? Because Kirk
right.
talked about like you have this young girl and a young man who obviously came together and had a baby. How could the child get left behind? Like, how
Mm,
could the child be the one that has to now deal with a full traumatic life without having somebody to go to and having
man,
a mother who's unable to release to give you the information that you need?
yeah, those dynamics is very strong, and I'm glad you brought that up because, you know, those are those are two people making
Mm-hmm.
two choices and going two different directions, and
Yep.
yet this one baby does not get neither of the two.
And don't have doesn't have the power to make a decision for themselves either. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? And I,
yeah,
for the first time, like after watching it the second time, excuse me, I actually had a sentiment towards the mom because watching the entire thing, you think, okay, Kirk Franklin, he's had his traumatic life, all these things are going. It makes you very sentimental to what he's going through. But it wasn't until I heard the mom say again, I'm at that table, all I've wanted was you, and now I still can't have you. Because we don't get to unfold everything that happened in her lifetime. That's like not allowing her
right,
to release. Because the
right,
sister turns to her and says, he just wants the truth. Like, just give him the truth. And it could be maybe the sister knows the truth. Maybe she knows, like, hey, how could we deny something twice that's 99%? But you have to think about what stronghold did she have that won't allow her to release this to be the truth for herself. Think about her growing up in that age. And obviously, I don't know if she grew up in the church, she grew up in the streets, but when you think about having a child young, everybody looks at you differently. Everybody speaks to you differently. Maybe her own parents maybe disowned her. And I don't want to put all these different things um, in the environment that weren't there, but something happened. Maybe multiple things happened where she just can't let go of whatever it is and she can't give that to him. And it's sad to even see.
yeah. Generational trauma is real, and we talked about those roots. Those roots can also sprout up into another plant and infect, or mess up the fruit of another plant, right? And
Yeah.
especially the seed that's born inside of you, that's conceived
Hmm.
inside of you. Like, that's an easy connection right there, right? So
Yeah.
we see generational traumas, and we see, but you're right. You know, she could have gone through so much in her life, and it's easy for us to empathize with Kirk Franklin because this is his story, and he said that. I love that when he said, like, this is my story. I deserve, like, to know the
Yeah.
truth because of my story, and he absolutely does. And the unfortunate thing is you don't really know the fortunate thing sometimes is that you're connected with somebody else's story, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Tethered to
and
it almost.
yeah, and their story has a direct connection to your story. If I remember him saying, because you did not know how to love, it has affected me to
Yep.
not be able to not show love sometimes. And um that shows you that there's a connection, right? That shows you that somebody else's story can have a direct impact on your story. So especially those that are close to you, and especially your parents. So
Yeah.
we all have we all can point to something in our parents' life that they did not do well, right?
Hmm.
And we can talk about those things, and um, but we also, somewhere in there, we also have to have the grace and the understanding to know that that very thing that they didn't do well may be a overcompensation. Whereas, like,
Mm,
when they was young, they said I won't gonna do that, or it could be just the same line of trauma that they
yeah.
went through. At the end of the
And
day, it's
no, yeah, like you said, at the end of the day, it's connected. I don't think I even put two and two together for a lot of um, things in my own life that I had questions about. I didn't know I had questions about, or why my mom treated a certain situation the way she treated it growing up, is because there was a lot of trauma that she was dealing with that she never talked about. Not only did she not talk about it with us, she didn't speak about it to anybody. And like without giving any details or anything like that, literally I feel like every couple of months there's something else that pops up, and it's with the help of this podcast that I've been able to create the communication and use the right words to be able to talk to her, to be able to release some of these past traumas that she's gone through, that gives me more perspective as to why certain situations happen the way they happen, or why she treats me the way that she treats me or treated me. Same thing for different relationships she's had in the past or with her kids. And man, it's given me something I never really thought I'd ever have. And there's some parts that I can't quite get into just yet. You know what I mean? And I have my own traumas that I've dealt with that I haven't been able to release to my mom yet. And maybe it won't affect her the same way, because, of course, I was younger, she was older. But I know just hearing that will give us both a side of a story that we've never heard and will probably be able to help us a lot. So that was how
yeah,
I connected, man. And it just watching it touched my heart. And I'm probably going to see it again. I really actually hope I get to hear more from his story. So,
yeah. I'm hoping there's a part two, and who knows, maybe his mom will see the special and want to go into more detail and share, her side, and um, it would be unique to see this thing unfold out. But at the end of the day, this is Kirk Franklin's story, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
um, we are kind of just like flies on the wall because he had video to be able to record these things. But yeah, man, it was powerful. It was a powerful piece that, even when I went to church, I think he released it on like a Friday. It hasn't even been a full week yet.
yeah,
He released it like on Friday, and it has millions of views. And even, I went to church the next day, or 2 days later, and my pastor was talking about it and how he connected with it. He had a similar story, and it was just very real, just very
yeah.
real.
And I think what he did, and that's be the last thing I say on it, but I think what he did allowed and gave permission to a lot of people to speak their own truth and
Yeah,
to come forward with past traumas that they should be able to open up to, or at least go get help with. Because not only are we holding our friends and or family back from living their own life and being able to have the answers that they need to be able to move forward, you're holding yourself back. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And I don't think anybody wants to die with regret and holding on to things that are keeping us from being free. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but
That's
I
real.
wanted to talk about Deion Sanders, bro. Like this was gonna be a big pivot, but we talk
Coach
about
Prime.
Coach, man. He is on fire, bro. He is not only Black America's team, he is America's team right now. Like,
Colorado,
and
Black America's team.
bro, it's beautiful just seeing everybody come together and be able to root him on. And it's great that he's winning, but it's like he's doing it the prime way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no
And it's
doubt.
like it's absolutely him and everything that he does, but there's certain nuances to him that I think both me and you can relate to, that we look to, that maybe the big media isn't necessarily paying attention to. Like when you see his sleeves and it says Jesus Christ on the side, or when he talks about his relationship with God and how he works through his life based on the Bible and the way he treats the kids. Another thing is his fatherhood. Like he has kids that follow him to these schools, and he
Right.
has kids that he's coached since a young age. And I'm telling you, bro, I don't think that could be me. I tried to coach Azai for like 2 days in the garage before starting flag football, and I don't even have the patience for that. And what has given me the inspiration to even have this conversation with you is because, one, we have kids, we play sports, but Daddy and Sense on Instagram posted 5 lessons dads can learn from Coach Prime. And I just wanted to go through some of those with you. I thought they were very interesting. The first lesson was lesson number 1, lead by example. And bro, that touched me all the way. Talk to me a little bit. What do you think about that?
Man, leading by example, I want to share something that you actually just shared that really resonated with me as you was just talking about Coach Prime. You said something that was very powerful, and I want to pause and acknowledge that. You said that he is doing it the prime way,
Mm-hmm.
right? He went to Colorado. He's coaching and he's doing it the prime way. We expected him to do it the prime way at HBCU. We
Right.
expected for him to be Coach Prime and be himself there. But I think sometimes we have been so trained as Black men that we had to change our voice. We had to change, how we present ourselves. We might even have to cut our hair. When we elevate and go to different higher positions and newer positions and bigger positions where, it's not a lot of us in the room, we begin to have those insecurities start to sprout up because it's like, it's a blessing that you're even here.
Right.
When really he's saying y'all are blessed because I'm here,
Come on.
and
Come on.
it's just like it gives, as a Black man, it gives us the confidence to be who you are, right? We just
Mm-hmm.
talked about your story is your story, right? We just talked about you are who you are. And a lot of times when we elevate, there's no way we better not bring the baggage with us, right?
Yep.
We better not
Mm-hmm.
bring, things with us because they don't want that. They just
Right.
want the talent and the gift that you might just possess. But Coach Prime said, "No, I'm bringing the baggage with me."
I'm bringing
Right?
the bags. And it's not old
And
tattered bags. This the Louis.
no, it's the Louis. It's the Louis, right? And it was
Yeah.
like that was what was powerful. That's what's powerful about this whole movement is
Mm-hmm.
that this confident Black man has been able to step in a position that a lot of confident Black men don't really step into
Absolutely.
because it becomes a deeper threat or becomes some type of show you perceive it as or really
Mm-hmm.
is real. And I think Coach Prime is showing us that it's real. And him bringing, when we say baggage, we're now talking about his kids, right? Him bringing his expensive kids, right? Because they
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
paid. Them boys,
Oh,
them
come on.
boys getting paid.
Come on.
And him bringing, and they're not only getting paid, but they're talented, and
Mm-hmm.
they bring just as much confidence because of who their father is. They bring that
Yeah.
same level of confidence with them. What that can change, Coach Prime can change the team, but
Yep.
those young men, his sons, who've been around confidence their whole life, who've
Yep.
seen dreams be accomplished at a high level, and I'm gonna tell you about it, and I'm gonna
Yep.
accomplish it at the same time. That could resonate with an entire team and an entire community, entire state, entire world. Man,
Yeah.
we
But and
are
it's
we are yeah.
you know what I'm saying, there was something you said. You said it's not about like who his father was, who their father was. It said who his father is. And
Yeah,
we're not talking about the stats and the old school. Their father is still that type of person. He's
that's it.
still walking in what he believes, and he believes whatever he says is true because he gets his identity from somebody else, not
That's
from
it, bro.
somebody sitting across from him. He knows exactly who he is, and he doesn't have to coach his kids specifically or position group or anything like that because all he needs to do, honestly, is lead by example, and that's number one right there, bro. Like
That's
that's
number one.
really all you need. They know how to stand firm on that.
He's leading by example and he's doing it his way, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's doing it his way. And when we hear that his way, we can think about it in a negative context, right? Like why is he doing it his way? Because at the end of the day, he is Deion Sanders. He is
Come
Coach
on,
Prime. Why would he do it anybody else's way? Why
come
would
on.
he do it? There's no book that say you gotta coach like this, or you gotta wear this type of suit, or dress
Right.
this type of way, or do the press conference in this type of look without shades and hat,
Uh oh,
right?
come on,
Deion,
boy, don't get him started now.
there's no like book, and so many times we as people have lived by this book that does not even exist, right?
Come on, bro. That's
We
true.
made it up in our mind because such and such did it this way, or because two people did it this way, or three people, they just follow suit. But this book doesn't exist, right?
It
But
doesn't
one book
exist.
that does exist is what Coach Prime lives by, and what he's striving to live by each and every day is the Word of God, the number one book that
Come
has
on.
ever been made, the most sold book, the most looked at book, the most studied book is the Word of God, the Bible, the Holy Bible.
Yeah.
And he has been able to be himself, but he's also been able to glorify God in the position. And I'm big on purpose over position. He has been able to step in different positions, but still remain in one purpose
Come
through
on,
Christ.
bro. Come
So,
on, man.
yeah, man.
That's what I needed to hear. Let's roll on to number 2. Lesson number 2: invest time in your kids. I
Mm.
think from a very early age, he knew that he was going to have to invest time in his kids. And I think that's the reason why he chose to coach their like little leagues team and like go into the schools and coach with them and be able to ride alongside them so that he can show them how to do it the prime way. And I say that this is a little bit different than maybe some of the other coaches to sons that you see, because sometimes what you see is maybe the dad just wants to live through their child. They didn't get to go to the college team they wanted to go to the NFL and play at the next level. They're literally living through their child. Where Deion Sanders has got it all. He played multiple sports. He did well in college. He got the money. He made the investments. He's opened businesses. He's a Hall of Famer. He's all these things. He doesn't need to do that. And I don't think that he would be embarrassed if his kids didn't play a sport. But I think because they saw what he did, they wanted to show him, hey, Dad, we can do this too. And they wanted to get his love and get his coaching. And he decided to invest time in him. And I think one thing that I love so much that they show that he does, and they say he's been doing it for years, is with his kids, he will walk from the one side of the field or the 50-yard line all the way to the goal line. And when he's walking down there, he's Dad. He's affirming him. He's talking to him. Hey, I need you to do this. I love you no matter what. Like, he's saying all these different things and investing that amount of time. And when they hit the pylon and come back, now he's coach. And he's telling them, hey, when we go down, we go do cover 2. I need you to do it like this. Or, you know what I'm saying? He chose to invest that time that he didn't have to. He didn't have to give him that time at all. He could just go into the game like everybody else. But he chose to break that time apart and give that to his kids. What's your thoughts?
Man, you said a lot, and I have a lot of different thoughts. Well, I'm gonna start here. One of the things that book that we was talking about that doesn't exist, that book that doesn't exist, that book that doesn't exist tells a coach that you can't show fatherhood to your son on the field because it might come off as bias, or it might come
Mm-hmm.
off as that's your son has a position because you're his
Mm-hmm.
dad. So we don't want to
Mm-hmm.
make it look like that, right? And Coach Prime is saying, man, forget that book, right? I am the father, I am dad, but I'm also coach as well, right?
Yeah.
And he's been able to show on a national level how being dad and coach coincide together and how they can work together for a greater purpose,
Yeah.
right? And not only is he influencing other coaches, but he's influencing dads. Not
Yes.
even football dads, but dads in general,
Period.
right? And it's a beautiful thing to watch, and it's a beautiful thing to see. And what I love most is that he didn't ask for that job at Jackson State. He didn't ask for that at Colorado. He started out coaching his sons in high school,
Yep.
and that caught wind. And next thing you know, they're coming to him and approaching him. Where now, as dad, he can advance with his kids to
Yes,
college.
man. So beautiful, bro.
And I'm not sure. I don't think he had it set out. Oh, I'm gonna go to Colorado. I'm gonna coach here 2 years, and then I'm gonna leave and go bigger.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was presented to him in that way.
Yeah.
And as dad, he brought his sons with him, and that was special. Even
That
in the
is.
midst of everybody saying that, like, turning against your culture, you're doing this, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, he just elevated. One of the phrases that I live by, or that I kind of keep close to me, is eliminate to elevate. Eliminate the
Mm,
distractions, eliminate all of the naysayers and all of these things, eliminate that so that I can now elevate to where I in my proper place and where I need to go. So
come on,
spending
bro.
time is extremely powerful. And at the end of the day, kids spell love Time. They spell
Mm,
love Time because
come
it's
on.
about the time that you are investing with your kids that truly shows the love that you really care for them.
Dang. We're gonna have to go in on that one at another time, dog. That is a good
Yeah,
one right there.
yeah. I got to quote Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell, my pastor in Atlanta. He used to say that all the time, and it's so true, right?
Yeah, it is.
Kids spell love Time.
Mm. Number 3, teach resilience. That is a good one. I was
Yeah.
watching Tim Ross's podcast just last night, and not only was he talking about resilience in that special, but he was also talking about teaching rejection and being able
Mm,
to move forward and understand that things will happen, but it will not end everything that you got. It will not
yeah.
end your life. You know what I'm saying? And I think when I think about my own self and how I'm trying to discipline our kids and how I'm trying to teach our kids these different lessons, excuse me, and morality, like it's different ways you can do it, right? Everybody talks about gentle parenting being one way, helicopter parenting. There's so many different ways. And the one thing that bothers me the most is I think about how I grew up tough, honestly, like maybe not just physically tough, but I got it ingrained into me through different people and different coaches. And I'm teaching my child about his emotions and how to speak and how to communicate. And I'm just like, man, like, am I honestly like, I'm just saying, like, am I making them soft? Like, how do I teach them to be tough? Like, nobody taught me how I'm supposed to pass that part down. And it's not necessarily about teaching to be tough exactly. Like, it's talk about resilience, teaching how to move forward when you're rejected, teaching how to fail and use that failure to succeed. So now I'm trying to work that into how I speak to my son and how I talk to my wife about what my plans are when I'm talking to my son. And right now, even when I praise him, it's not like, oh my God, you do such a great job reading. Like, you're an awesome reader. It's like, man, I'm so happy to see how hard you tried in spelling that word or how hard you tried in reading that page. Like, I love you. Didn't quit. You didn't stop. You were resilient. And I love that. Daddy loves when you try hard.
Man, that's so powerful, bro, because what it represents is the small wins, the small
Mm-hmm.
victories, right? Something that may be perceived small, like reading a book or learning a new word, right? Those are the small victories that really adds up into the big W's, right? And
Mm-hmm.
as athletes, we understand practice. We understand that you got to go to practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or whenever you play, right? To be ready for Friday and to be ready for Saturday or to be ready for Sundays. It takes those small investments that you put in your body, taking care of your body, going to the training room, going to the weight room, like all of those small investments adds up. And as a father, we get to demonstrate those things now where we can invest in our kids by showing up to practice, right?
Yeah.
My oldest has tennis practice today for the first. This is our first tennis practice. Like, I'm going to find a way how I can get
Yeah.
involved and be an assistant coach. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I want her to see the investments, and I want her to know that my presence, right? I want her to feel my presence.
Yeah.
That of me being present and available. So resilience is so strong. When I think about resilience, I think about in the very beginning of the Bible, in the very beginning of time, Adam and Eve was created. God created Adam and Eve in His likeness and image, and they ended up messing up. Right? They ended up getting deceived by the serpent, and God came down and said, Adam, where are you? And when I hear that, really read it in a voice and a tone where I hear God's heart being broken because
Mm,
he had to ask Adam, where are
mm,
you? And
mm,
Adam felt so ashamed to the point where he couldn't move forward or he couldn't reveal himself to God because he knew that he just made a mistake. And really, I never thought about it in this way, but when you look at it, God taught Adam and Eve. Of course, there was consequences, but he taught them resilience even in
Mm.
that space because he made them some clothes. He put on them some clothes because they seen that they was naked,
Yep.
and he said that this is going to happen. But guess what? They were still able to go forward. He still
Yep.
provided a way for them to move forward. So when I think about resilience, I think about God and how he cares. I think about God as the Father and how he
Mm-hmm.
cares about us. Even when we make mistakes or even when bad things happen, they're not there to stop us or to keep us in our tracks, but they can be used to propel us forward.
Come on, brother.
Yeah,
Woo!
man.
Because we know God could have went snap one time. He would have. He was like, "Hey, bro,
Exactly.
I'm just gonna start over." But it's like, "I'm gonna teach
Exactly.
y'all something. I'm gonna teach y'all how to be resilient. I got an answer for y'all down the road. I just need y'all to go get there." But man, that's
Yeah.
good. Let's roll into number 4. Number 4, celebrate their unique talents. Every child we have is not exactly alike.
No doubt.
And we talk about spitting out, a spitting image of ourselves. And I can see a little bit of myself in every single one of them, but they all have different talents, man. And I never want one of my kids to feel like I'm uh, not celebrating them because I relate to another child's talent. And then I'm like, oh man, you're really good at this. Like I was this back in the day, and da, da, da. I need to learn how to be able to celebrate each and every one of their talents, and also learn them first, so that I'm able to help them improve and increase on whatever their talent is, and be able to put them in an environment that really helps it grow. You know what I mean? So talk to me. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, in order to celebrate your child's talents, it goes back to I think the second one where you have to spend time with them,
Mm-hmm.
right? You have to get to know them. You have to invest in who they are as a person and who are they becoming, right? You deposit in who you invest in who they are
Mm-hmm.
so that in the result you can spill out or I'm trying to find the right wording. You can get rich or what? Not rich. I'm not gonna say that.
I know what
But
you mean.
I'm trying to find the right word. You invest in who they are now, so that you can know who they will become in the future, and
Right.
you can put a great deposit towards who they are becoming in the
Yes.
future. Because
Yes.
life is like, I mean, really, it's a becoming effort. We are becoming, right? We are always like becoming a man, becoming a
Mm-hmm.
woman, becoming a husband, becoming a wife, becoming a father, becoming a mother. We are in this state of constantly becoming, right? And to be able to celebrate while you are in this process is huge for your development and growth. It's
Yeah.
huge for
Yeah.
the development of a child. And here's one thing that I resonate so well with this that I want to share is parenting never stops,
That's true.
right? And to be able to celebrate your, Coach Prime, one of his sons is behind the camera. We really don't even get to see him a lot, but he's
Right.
talented in that way,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we hear Coach Prime giving him his props. And guess
Yes.
what? He's still spending time with him, even though he played ball and his sons the other sons are playing football. Like it'll
Mm-hmm.
be easier for him to celebrate that more than he celebrate his son. But it's beautiful that he's celebrating all of them. And his daughter playing basketball, he celebrates
True.
his daughter because
Yep.
she's also at Colorado. We forget that, right? She was at Jackson State. So
Yep.
yeah, man, to be able to celebrate those small victories and those small wins, it requires you to spend time first to be able to, in order to get to that celebration mark.
That's so good. And the last one, and I'm gonna get you out of here. Number 5, communication is key. If anybody knows how to talk, it's Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
And I think that might be one of the easiest things for him. And I can't say that on his behalf or anything like that, but at least what it looks like is that he has no problem speaking. And it's good that he probably learned that at a young age. But not only he just talk, right? He doesn't just say anything and come on now. He says exactly what he means, and he
Yeah.
then stands on it. You know what I'm saying? He has no problem being able to verbalize how he feels about something. And I think one of the better things that I've seen and the cooler things that I've seen is him be able to exercise with strength too when he's doing it. And it's because he does have the vocabulary. and because he does know his identity already. So when people are attacking him, he's able to communicate effectively and also be able to communicate with his kids, communicate with the players. Because when you think about, like, how is he able to jump from player to player to team like that so fast? It's because he knows how to communicate and how to get in contact with these people. He's probably one of the best recruiters in the entire nation right now, is because he knows how to get in front of somebody and communicate to them effectively and communicate to their parents. And they not only hear what he's saying, they know he's going to stand on it. So if he says it, they can expect it from him.
Man, that's so good, bro. That's so good because communication is key. And if we can give our kids, the proper love that they need, but also the proper communication that they need to exemplify, going back to number one, lead by example. If we can lead by example and communicate to our kids, then now we begin to have healthier marriages, I believe.
Yes. Yes.
We begin to have healthier families. We begin to have healthier, and I'm not just talking about our marriage. I'm talking about our kids' marriage one day,
Come on. Mm-hmm.
because we led by example with our communication, and
Yes.
they begin to create that awareness of what communication is all about, right? And two people communicating one message, one thing. The Bible says where two are greater than one,
Yeah.
right? When two come together, and then it says three is even greater, because now you can watch from all sides. And it's like, man, when we come together in a communicational space where, my coach taught me, I learned this from my coach. He said, clear, clean, concise, and direct. When you
Mm-hmm.
communicate, you want to be clear, you want to be clean, you want to be concise, and you want to be direct. How cool is it when a father communicates to his children and he's clear, he's
Mm-hmm.
clean, concise, and direct? A lot of times we may get one out of those four, right? And it's incomplete
Yeah.
almost, or it's hard to believe. No, as a father, when you say that you're going to be there, you're going to be there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you a man of your word? So, yeah, man, those are an amazing top 5 lists that I'm glad that we went through today.
So I want to shout out Daddy and Sense at Daddy and Sense on Instagram. Go follow him, man. I appreciate you guys for even putting this together. This has been an awesome conversation we got a chance to have. And the last thing before I get you out here, how can the people find you, bro?
Yeah, you can find me on IG, Twitter. I think it's underscore V Lee 2, Vad Lee 2, or V Lee. Yeah, Vad Lee 2, whatever. You also can type in vadspeaks.com. Hit me up, feel free. You also can subscribe to my YouTube page as well at Vad Speaks.
Awesome. Thanks, man. I love you, bro. We'll talk again
Love
soon. I
you, dog.
already know it.
Love you, dog. I appreciate it. This was awesome. Here for the dads.
Hoo-yah. Thank you for watching. You just listened to Here for the Dads podcast with Meyer Crawl. I am so grateful that you're here. But if you're new to this space, what I need you to do is slow down and subscribe, share, review, or rate. Whatever you can to help me out, because I'm on a journey to create a space for existing fathers and new fathers that's going to allow them to be a little bit more confident and a little bit more efficient at what they're doing. Thank you.